statistics for you that we'd like to share. Today was the 280th spacewalk in support of station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. The third out of station this year, the third of this expedition, Expedition 74, and it was the second spacewalk of Williams' career. He now has a career total of 14 hours, 22 minutes under his belt, and this was the fifth spacewalk for Mir, totaling 36 hours, 6 minutes.
After this 1 minute. And so, Jessica and Chris, we want you to check your switch glove heaters are off OFF.
And as the crew continues to step through those procedures, just a couple more statistics. The spacewalk did last, of course, 7 hours, 20 minutes, and in the space station's lifetime, we have had 73 days, 21 hours, and 54 minutes worth of spacewalking time.
Thanks for report for EV2.
Okay, just small black dots for EV1 and nothing EV2. Now on your DCM, both EV1 and EV2, you have put your O2 actuator to IV.
EV2 for IV.
EV1 is an IV.
Well done. Now we are going to continue the repress and expect an alert tone.
EV1.
2.
And repressurization is back underway. Pressure inside the crew lock continuing to climb, now at 5.5 pounds per square inch. Again, we'll get to about 14.5 pounds per square inch, which will be the equivalent of the interior portion of the International Space Station, at which point hatches will open, and both Williams and Mir will be brought back inside the equipment lock of the International Space Station. And if you've been with us since early this morning, 6 a.m. Central, you'll remember the crew was kind of attached to the walls inside the equipment lock and had their safers installed. We'll now work that in the reverse process. The crew's simplified aid for EVA rescue will be removed, and their helmets will come off, their gloves will come off. They'll have the opportunity to get out of their spacesuits and get comfortable and have a very well-deserved rest and heal. Again, today's spacewalk did last 7 hours, 20 minutes. While inside the spacesuits, the crew is not able to eat, but they do have a drink bag that they can utilize. Pressure inside the crew lock continuing to steadily rise, now at 7.65 pounds per square inch. Inside the equipment lock portion of the space station, European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adeno, as well as NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway, continue to monitor and step through those procedures alongside these spacewalkers, as you can see.
Jessica, we are reaching 8 psia, and slow and steady increasing.
EV1? 2.
The spacesuit that the crew members completed today's spacewalk in is called the EMU, which is the Extravehicular Mobility Unit, is essentially an individual human-sized spacecraft. Contains all the life support system that the crew might need, and has 6 layers and provides atmospheric containment, thermal insulation, cooling, solar radiation protection, and micrometeoroid debris protection. Now approaching 10 pounds per square inch inside the International Space Station.
Airlock Houston on 1, just want to let you know we expect another...
Houston, Jessica, we just reached 10 psia, still and steady increasing.
EV1? 2.
In the airlock, we expect another 5 minutes or so.
And you just heard Capcom, or Capsule Communicator Aki Hoshide, communicate with the crew inside the International Space Station that there's about 5 minutes or so remaining in repressurization this afternoon. Following repressurization, the hatches will open between the crew lock and the equipment lock portion of the space station, and both Williams and Mir will be assisted back into the equipment lock portion, which you see on your screen currently. At this point, Adno and Hathaway will help both crew members get out of their spacesuits, but first they'll help them doff or remove their simplified aid for EVA rescue, otherwise known as SAFER. The SAFER, which is sometimes referred to as a space jetpack, is a compressed nitrogen-powered backpack that allows a crew member to maneuver back to the International Space Station in the unlikely event that they were to become untethered. As part of their spacewalk training at the Neutral Buoyancy Lab here in Houston, Texas, crew members learn very early that it is critical to remain tethered to the International Space Station at all times, and the crew practices that throughout their spacewalk training, no matter what the task for the particular spacewalk might be. However, each crew member does wear the SAFER, that simplified aid for EVA rescue, during their spacewalks, just as a precautionary measure. Pressure now 12 pounds per...
PSIA. Increasing slow and steady.
EV1.
2.
And pressure inside the crew lock now about 12 pounds per square inch. Just about 2 pounds per square inch of pressure remaining. Today's 7-hour, 20-minute spacewalk was the 280th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades, and successfully restored functionality to the Canadarm2 following a joint failure. The wrist joint malfunctioned during normal Canadarm2 operations on May 27th, and NASA worked alongside the Canadian Space Agency to understand the issue and determined a spacewalk was required. Repairs to robotics like the Canadarm2 are normal and expected after more than 25 years of continuous operations, and the system was designed with replaceable components and planned maintenance in mind. .5 pounds per square inch inside the crew lock, just about 1 pound per pressure remaining. Standing by for equalization confirmation.
To increase that equalization complete, we are going to open the IV hatch.
EV1, see you soon.
2.
And with that, we do have confirmation that pressure has equalized between the crew lock and the equipment lock. Hathaway now will work to open up the hatch between the two areas and get our spacewalkers back inside the International Space Station. And the hatch has been opened between the crew lock and the equipment lock. Near Hathaway and Adeno, you can see that failed joint, that joint number 5 that was removed by our spacewalkers today as part of their swap out.
I'm not sure if my tether's released or not.
It's not. Hold on. I got you.
Houston, the hatch is open and you're go for step 4.
Okay, copy that. That is in work.
Yes.
And it looks like first back inside of the equipment lock portion of the International Space Station will be NASA astronaut Jessica Meir, who has a total now of 36 hours, 6 minutes of spacewalking time during her 5 spacewalks.
EV crew are no longer hot mic.
Copy.
And as you can see on your screen here, we do have the safer, simplified aid for EVA rescue already removed off of Meir's spacesuit. And while Adeno goes to store the simplified aid for EVA rescue, Hathaway is going to work to get Meir situated in order to continue the doffing or removal of the spacesuit process.
And Airlock Houston on 1, be advised for EV1, when you go to step 7, he reported some black smudges on the gloves, so we'd like you to use the damp towels to clean those. And then in step 8, he had the helmet light disconnected, so that may float off, but it will still be connected by the cables. And Sophie, we do have you in the Node 1 camera.
And coming into view now is NASA astronaut Chris Williams, who just wrapped up his second spacewalk of his career. He now has a total of 14 hours, 22 minutes of spacewalking time. Adeno and Hathaway will now work to get the simplified aid for EVA rescue off of Williams' spacesuit. And the simplified aid for EVA rescue is now off of Williams' suit as well. Hathaway getting Williams into position to help continue the process of doffing or removing the spacesuit. As you can see, he's taking off that mini workstation on Williams now. That's where all their tools and tethers were configured throughout the spacewalk, including the pistol grip tool, which, as you know, has been utilized quite frequently during today's spacewalk. And Jessica Mears' mini workstation has also been removed. And it looks like Hathaway is now working to remove the helmet of NASA astronaut Jessica Meir, completing her 5th spacewalk of her career. Might first take off the HECAs or helmet cameras. And back inside of Mission Control Houston, you're getting a view of the Orbit 2 team, who has been led by Flight Director Fiona Ankoviak.
18-minute LOS.
The team is beginning handover to the Orbit 3 Flight Control team, who will be led by Flight Director Ronak Dave.
You can temp stow it. And the suit conference and the PMC, we can pick it up after we come back.
And as the Orbit 2 and Orbit 3 flight control teams here in Mission Control begin their handover period, and with the successful completion of today's 7-hour and 20-minute spacewalk, where NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Meir successfully swapped out a failed joint on the Canadarm2, which successfully restored power to the arm to provide additional science capability, future spacewalk capability, and the continued capture and berthing of visiting spacecraft to the International Space Station. That is going to wrap up today's spacewalk and conclude our coverage for today. But I did want to say thank you so much for watching and following along with us today. Signing off for now. This is Mission Control Houston.